You pick it up without thinking. You just put it down 30 seconds ago. Nothing has changed. No one has messaged you. No alert went off. But your hand is already reaching for it again. And if someone asked you why, you wouldn't have a good answer. You'd say you were bored, or you were just checking. But the real answer is far stranger. And it goes back much further than the smartphone, further than the internet, further than electricity. It goes back to the single most important survival problem your ancestors ever had to solve: the problem of not knowing. Your brain was not built for certainty. It was built for a world where not knowing something could kill you. A rustling in the grass. Was that the wind or a predator? Silence from the next camp over. Were they asleep or were they gone? Information was survival. The brain that kept scanning, kept checking, kept asking what changed and what's new, that brain lived. The brain that got comfortable with not knowing did not pass its genes forward. Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp spent decades mapping the emotional systems of the mammalian brain. He identified what he called the seeking system, a dopamine-driven circuit that doesn't just respond to rewards, it responds to the anticipation of rewards, the possibility of a reward, the maybe. Panksepp showed that this system lights up more intensely during the search for a reward than during the reward itself. Your brain is not addicted to your phone. It is addicted to the feeling that something might be there. That distinction matters more than almost anything else about why you live the way you do. Think about what your phone actually is to the seeking system. Every time you unlock the screen, there's a chance that something new is there. A message, a like, a notification, a piece of news. Sometimes there is nothing. Sometimes there is something small. And occasionally, just occasionally, there is something that makes your chest tighten, your pupils dilate, your whole body shift. The variability is not a flaw in how your phone holds your attention. It is the engine. B.F. Skinner figured this out in the 1950s. Not about phones, about pigeons. He ran a series of experiments testing what happened when rewards were given on a fixed schedule versus a random one. The pigeon that got a pellet every 10th peck eventually stopped being excited about pecking. But the pigeon that got a pellet randomly, sometimes on the 3rd peck, sometimes on the 30th, never stopped. It pecked compulsively. It pecked even when it was no longer hungry. It would peck until it was exhausted. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement, and it is the most powerful behavior conditioning pattern ever identified in animals. It is also the exact architecture of every social media feed ever built. You are the pigeon. The feed is the lever. But understanding that doesn't make it stop, because the seeking system doesn't respond to intellectual explanations. It responds to possibility. And as long as there is a possibility that something new and meaningful is waiting on that screen, the pull is going to be there. This is not a character flaw. This is not weakness. This is one of the oldest and most successful circuits in the vertebrate nervous system, running exactly as it was designed to run. The question is, designed for what? Go back about 150,000 years. Your ancestors lived in bands of roughly 20 to 50 people. Within that group, information was everything. Who was in conflict with whom? Who had found a new food source? Who was sick? Who had left and not returned? Who was forming a new alliance? Social information wasn't gossip. It was the intelligence network your survival depended on. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford found that up to 65% of human conversation across all cultures studied, from hunter-gatherers to modern city dwellers, is social information. Not facts, not logistics, social information. Who did what? Who said what? What changed? Your brain evolved to be a social information processor, and it was never supposed to stop processing. In the ancestral environment, the cost of missing a piece of critical social information was potentially catastrophic. Being the last to know that the group was moving camp meant being left behind. Being unaware of a shifting alliance meant walking into conflict blind. The brain that got anxious when it hadn't received a social update in a while, that brain stayed alert. That brain checked. that brain survived. Now fast forward to a device that delivers an infinite, continuously updating stream of social information from hundreds or thousands of people simultaneously. To the seeking system, this is not a phone. This is the richest, densest, most inexhaustible social environment any human nervous system has ever encountered, and it never runs out. In the ancestral world, eventually you knew what had happened in the camp. Eventually, the information ran dry and you could rest. The feed never runs dry. Psychologist Larry Rosen at California State University has studied what he calls eye disorder, the way smartphone use maps onto known anxiety disorders. His research found that the average person checks their phone every 15 minutes, even when no notification has gone off. Not because something happened, because the brain cannot tolerate the uncertainty that something might have happened and you don't know yet. The checking is not about the phone. It is about silencing the ancient alarm that says you might be missing something important. But here's where it becomes truly strange. The information you're checking for is almost never important. You know this. You have felt this. You pick it up, you scroll for 40 seconds, you put it down, and something in you hasn't been satisfied. It's been activated. The checking didn't calm the seeking system. It fed it. Because the system wasn't looking for a specific piece of information, it was looking for the experience of seeking. And now it knows the lever is there. Neuroscientist Anna Lemke at Stanford calls this the dopamine nation problem. Dopamine does not measure pleasure. It measures the difference between what you expected and what you got. When a reward is predictable, dopamine stops firing in response to it. When a reward is variable, dopamine fires in anticipation. And when you repeatedly flood the anticipation circuit without ever fully satisfying it, the baseline shifts. The brain recalibrates to expect stimulation. Silence starts to feel like deprivation. Being without your phone starts to feel like something is wrong. And this is where your ancestors and you finally part ways. They were anxious about silence because silence sometimes preceded violence. The quiet before a predator struck. The stillness before a rival group moved on your camp in the dark. Anxiety in the face of the unknown was adaptive. It kept blood pressure high, attention sharp, muscles ready. For them, the cost of being wrong, of reacting to nothing, was low. The cost of being right and not reacting was death. For you, the quiet means nothing is wrong, but your nervous system doesn't know that. Your nervous system is running the same ancient calculation. Unknown equals potentially dangerous, and your phone is offering a constant escape from the unknown. Not through satisfaction, through the promise of it. This is why every self-help solution that says, simply put the phone down, fails for most people. You cannot willpower your way out of a circuit that evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. You can work with it. You can restructure your environment so the lever isn't within reach. You can introduce friction, moving the app to a second screen, setting a timer, leaving it in another room. Research from the Duke University Center for Advanced Hindsight found that simply placing your phone face down during a task significantly improved focus and reduced anxiety. Not because you were using it differently, but because the possibility space had narrowed. What the eye doesn't see, the seeking system doesn't seek. But the most counterintuitive finding in all of this research is what happens when people stop trying to fight the urge and start trying to understand it. When you look down at your phone without thinking and then catch yourself, something shifts if you ask, what was I hoping to find? Not in a self-critical way, just with honest curiosity. What was that reaching for? Because almost always, it is not the phone you were reaching for. It is connection, novelty, reassurance, a sense that you are not behind, not missing out, not alone in the small quiet of your own mind. Those are ancient needs, legitimate needs, needs that were once met by sitting around a fire with 30 other people who were going through the same night you were. You are not weak for reaching for your phone. You are a 150,000-year-old social primate living inside a system that was engineered by some of the best behavioral scientists on Earth to feel exactly like the thing your brain has always been looking for. The difference now is that you know what the lever is. And knowing what the lever is, that's the first moment you stop being the pigeon. Tonight, when you reach for your phone without knowing why, you'll feel something you haven't felt before. Not judgment, not guilt, just recognition. The same ancient circuit, the same ancient need, the same hand reaching into the same dark. Still looking for the thing that will finally tell you everything is okay. It always was.